good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the good and wonderful people of the tube. How are you today? Hope you're well, and all is well in your world. Hi. Welcome to the ANQ Wednesday, people of the tube. Let's get to question one, shall we? Okay, so question one today is... you've spoken about your love for Oasis on a number of occasions, but I do not hear their influence in your playing. Is there anything you take away from Noel Gallagher? Maybe. But I don't really want to know. Anyway, no, I mean... I don't know. I really don't know. I'm sure there's something in my playing somewhere that nods to Noel. But it doesn't cast a shadow. Oh god, this is going to get really bad. Oasis things are afoot. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm going to talk tonight. Oh god, it's so painful. Anyway. No, I mean... I don't know. I mean, Noel didn't inspire me to play the guitar. That's the thing. Like, you know, it was John Frusciante who inspired me really to play the guitar the way I play it. Noel didn't really... It wasn't really there. He's like... The music of Oasis is really important to me. But there are some songs that I've written that very, 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 very much hark to Noel. You know, you can really hear his influence in certain songs that I've done. Not necessarily trio songs, but like there is stuff in there. Guitar playing wise, though, yeah, I don't really think I've taken that much away from him. To be honest with you, I don't think so. But again, you know, some things you love don't influence you in certain ways. You know, I don't feel that, like, you know, Noel's influence is there, but I still think man's a genius. A guitarist, amazing guitarist as well. I don't care what anybody says. To me, he's an absolute genius in songwriting, lyric writing, melody writing, and guitar playing. You know, really is. So, is there anything like, you know, a number of do I hear your influence in playing now? Not really. I mean, like I say, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. But is there anything I'll take away from Noel? I mean, more than anything, it's just the melody. And the songwriting. I mean, I'd love to be able to write songs like Noel, because he's just the songwriting monster. But other than that, really not really. I wouldn't say there's a massive influence there on me. I don't think there is. So yeah, anyway. If there is, I don't know. People with you, what do you think? So the other part of question one is, if all your guitar heroes were still alive, would that change the importance of your influences now? No. If Jimi Hendrix was still alive, Rory Gallagher was still alive, Peter Green was still alive, it doesn't make any difference. You know, would it change the importance? No, it wouldn't at all. No. Being a big British blues fan, being from the UK, being a big British blues fan, does being from the UK influence you as a guitarist? I would say indirectly. You know, but I don't really know. You know how your garden grows. I had to get it in there. But no, I don't know. I really don't know. Because my favourite guitarists, apart from Rory Gallagher, who's Irish, and Peter Green, who's English, are American. You know, John Frusciante, Jimi Hendrix, and Mike McCready. You know, they're American. So. And a lot of the music I end up playing is American music, you know. British blues stuff, obviously, I do play as well. But I don't know. I mean, I would say there's like a slight influence, but I don't know I don't know how or why. I don't know. I really don't know. I do apologise. That's a terrible answer. But I honestly, I literally don't have a clue how to answer that one. Does the UK influence you as a guitarist? I mean... I suppose it does. I mean, the way the UK is right now, it's an absolute nightmare. You know, it really is. I mean, my God, I mean, the world's crazy. You know, my God, I don't know what's going on. It's all gone a bit wrong somewhere along the line, people with the tube. I don't actually understand anymore what the hell is actually going on. It's terrifying, to be honest with you. The world is terrifying now. I would say the world's very terrifying right now, more than it's been for a while. You know, because one thing or another, it's hard to say. I mean, I'm not going political. That's not what this channel's for. But it's terrifying. But is there an influence? Yeah, I would say so. What it is, I don't know. I don't know how to define that. I really wouldn't know. Okay, so like I say, so I hope there's something you can take away from that. Anyway, do you know what I mean? Anyway, moving along. So moving on to question 2 now. So question 2 today is, how do you set your tremolos up on your Strats? I have a few guitars with either Fender Vintage or tremolos or Floyd Rose floating tremolos that I'm fine with. But how do you set them up so they sit on the body but don't bang when you release the bend or go out of tune when you snap a string? What I do... now this is I've done videos on how I set up guitars in the past anyway, but this is what I do. Is I will bend up the 15th fret on the B string and play the low E string, and I'll bend up a tone to that note. And if that low E string doesn't move, the tremolo's in the right place. And so, yeah, it's flush to the body. I never have floating trems. I hate floating trems. And one thing I've started to do recently is angle the claw. So the bass side is more in than the treble side. This doesn't work on all my guitars, but it works on a few of them. Mr. White doesn't like it. The ST62 doesn't like it. My first Oswald doesn't like the angled claw. But the 62 loves it. This thing can't go out of tune, so I don't think it's possible. But that's what I do. Is like that. That's the test for me. If I bend up that string, I don't necessarily normally always play it. I can just feel it. I want to hear that low E string not move. And if I can do this and bend up that B string like that, job's a good one. I mean, I can try that on the high E as well. You know, and basically that's what I do. So there's no movement, and because the only thing I ever want to do with my tremolo arms is go down, dive bomb. I don't come up, and I don't like to do kind of like, you know, wibble, so to say, with the tremolos. I don't do that kind of thing. I don't like it, and again, I don't like floating tremolos. I don't like the way they feel. I don't like the fear of breaking the string and the whole guitar goes ka-ding. If you've got a Floyd Rose that's like on a gem or an Ibanez gem, or it's got the cutaway under the Floyd, there's nothing you can do. It's gonna, if you break a string, it's gonna go that way. It's forever floating. There's nothing you can do about it. But on Strats, I just deck the tremolos, and I say do that trick. Well, that thing that I just did, and like I say, if that low E doesn't go, then I'm happy with it. Basically, that's where it wants to be. Because I like to be able to drone. Drone the low E string or A string or any of the strings on the guitar, and be able to bend the other strings and not have the tremolo go like up, so it detunes it. So I don't want any of that nonsense. I want it to be solid, so I can do that. You know, so that's what I want. That's how I do it. That's how I have them set. And like I say, some of them will have angled claws like that. Some of them will be straight. Because, again, all guitars are different. They all want and desire different things. They all want different setups. Some will want heavier strings. Some will want lighter strings. I never go above 10s, though. You know, it all depends on the actual guitar yourself. It's working on. Like my Ibanez Gem, for instance. Like my one qualm with that guitar is the fact of the trem is always floating. There's nothing I can do to stop that. Same thing with the BC Rich Mockingbird as well. Actually, it's forever floating. There's nothing I can do to stop that thing from floating because of the way it's cut into the body. So it is what it is. You know, I can't really change that. Oh, I apologise about my phone, YouTube. But then would it be a day video if it didn't ding at least once? No, it wouldn't. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, like I say, the thing is, it's just a thing of like getting the guitar, finding what the guitar wants. Like I say, all my strats are decked. I don't have any strats that are floating trems because I just don't like it. I hate the idea of like breaking a string and like the whole guitar goes wild out of tune. That's happened before. I don't like that, and I just prefer the way it is. And I reckon it creates more vibration on the guitar when the tremolo is on decked. I mean, I don't know, that could just be me being massively neurotic, but to me I always think it sounds better when the tremolo's decked like onto the body. I don't like it if it's floating. It almost sounds rubbery almost. I mean, again, this is just me, Pikachu. Again, this is just the way I'm perceiving things to be. But to me, I definitely prefer it when the tremolo is flat to the body. It just gives me peace of mind. And for tremolo abuse that I do, and use that I do, it's perfect, you know. And the trem goes back to where it needs to go as long as I can get the tension set right on the claw screws, which is everything. You know, the claw screws in the back are really important to know where they go. Like I say, some will really respond really well to this, the wonky claw, but then some won't. Some will want to be straight. Again, it's guitar dependent. It really is. So I mean, if you've got Floyd Rose's that deck to the body like the Eddie Van Halen's, because Eddie's guitars, they never went back like Steve Vai's do, or some guitars with Floyd Rose, they don't pull up, they just go down. Because Eddie's Floyd Rose on the deck, he never used to pull it up, it was just going down. If you've got that, again, what I would do is I would get the claws, you know, screwed in so they don't bow. It does make the tremolo arm very heavy to press down, but again, you know, free springs, you know, you're normally okay. Anything other than that, you're basically in lock-off territory, unless you want the claw pulled out quite far, in which case, you know, you can get away with 5. Which I do think adds something to a guitar as well. The amount of springs in it, they do something. It's very strange. But yeah, I mean, that's how I do it. I have it flat to the body, and that's how I test it. I don't want that low E string to move if I bend up the B string up a tone. It stays where it is, you know, and that's how I know I've got it set right, and that makes me happy. And in all fairness, people, over the years, my tremolo usage has decreased a lot. I used to be very tremolo centric. I used to love wanging the tremolo, and I've kind of, because I've done it so much, I'm kind of like over that. So for now, if that makes any sense. Anyway, going to move on to question 3 now. I hope that made some kind of sense. I recently had a breakthrough. This is question 3. I recently had a breakthrough with playing thumb over, which took me 2 years. I will not go back to my regular playing. Do you think 7.25 radius is more comfortable for this playing style, or do you think it matters? No, I don't think it matters. I don't think the radius really dictates anything. Like, it doesn't matter what guitar I play. They don't. My thumb is always kind of over the top. I don't really feel that it matters if it's a vintage radius or a modern radius. You know, again, bringing up the Gem, which is an extremely flat fretboard. I don't feel any different going from the 62 here to the Gem with my thumb over the top. Yeah, the neck's wider, they feel different, but I don't think it's got much to do with the way you play. Obviously, you know, yeah, if you play that way, you play that way. You know, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But yeah, so I don't really feel it has much difference in it, to be honest here. You got 9.5 radius on your Strat, yeah. General thoughts on 7.25 versus 9.5 on Strats, pros, cons. Again, I don't go into this, to be perfectly honest with you, PeterTube. It's like when people ask me, "Oh, what kind of necks do you like most? Do you like rosewood fretboards or maple or ebony fretboards?" I don't really care, because at the end of the day, what I'm after is a good instrument, and a good guitar is a good guitar regardless of what it's made out of and what's on it. It doesn't have to be rosewood. It doesn't even have to be wood. Look at the Batacaster. But that's the thing, is like, I don't go into kind of like radiuses either. It's like, if a guitar feels good, I don't care what the radius. I mean, I still don't give a monkeys about what radius my guitars are, because if they feel good, that's all that matters to me. I really go after what the guitar feels like over what its spec is. I don't really care for specs. I don't care what the pickups are, or what the capacitor is, or what the wiring is, or this, that, and the other. I go for feel. I want to know what it feels like, because that's more important. Because if it feels good, that means I can get out what I want from it, and I can actually emote and use it as an instrument, and not just kind of like just a thing, so to say. But I don't go into kind of like what the body wood is, or this, that, and the other. I don't really care. If a guitar's good, a guitar's good, and that's basically where I kind of sit with that one. Because I like I say, I mean, like the guitars like the Batacaster. I mean, the Batacaster's made out of MDF, and it's got a maple neck, and it's literally amazing. I mean, it weighs a ton, but it's a great guitar. It sounds great. It's resonant. It's alive. And it sings and it plays stunningly. So it's like, if I was kind of like to go, I only like older bodies and rosewood fingerboards and maple necks, I would not have that guitar, and I'd be missing out. So, and again, because it's got the original cheap ceramic pickups, alpha pots, and cheap 5-way selector, and if I was like kind of getting bent out of shape about like it needs this capacitor on the tone control, it needs these pots, it needs these pickups, I would miss out on something that's really unique and really cool. And I don't like the idea of that, because it kind of alienates me out of kind of like a guitar that could very well kind of like change the way I play, which is important to me. It's kind of like, for variety. So I don't really care about radiuses, body materials, woods. Obviously, if it looks pretty, it's cool, but it doesn't really bother me that much. Like I said, I go literally on feel, and a good guitar is a good guitar. That's literally what I'm after. Is when I pick it up, it needs to speak to me internally. It needs to go inside, and I need to be able to feel that thing. And if I can't feel it, I'm not really interested at all. It just kind of just goes out the window. I'm not just like, nah, whatever. It just goes out. It goes in one door and out the other. Whereas if a guitar feels good, then I want to keep it around. If there's something there, I can feel something. It's like, I want that guitar. But again, it's all about feel for me. It isn't about tech specs, materials used, or this, that, and the other. It's about, does it feel right? Because if it don't feel right, then to me, there's no point. But if it does feel right and it feels great, then jobs are good. And again, I don't care what it is. I really don't care if it's basswood or alder or flame maple or whatever. I don't give a monkeys really. What I care about is it feels right. That is the number one thing. It needs to feel right, and it needs to have that right voice. And it look the way I want it to look. And it's those kind of things. And that's really what it comes down to. I don't really have many thoughts on which one do you prefer, maple or rosewood or ebony, or do you prefer maple bodies, or do you prefer older bodies or mahogany? So I don't care, because at the end of the day, a good guitar is a good guitar. Like my East Coast Les Paul is not mahogany. My Revelation isn't mahogany either. And they're two of the best Les Pauls I've ever played. And my Gold Top is my number one Les Paul. I absolutely adore that thing. And it is what it is, It just. I don't like to get hung up on tech specs, and I don't really care for tech specs, if that makes any sense. Like, people ask me all the time what capacitors are in my guitars. I have no idea. I know half of them have got 250k pots, and I know the Les Pauls have got 500k pots, but I don't mod things. When I get a guitar and it's right, then I don't feel the need to change anything unless something breaks. And in that case, obviously you've got to. But yeah, I don't really go in for that kind of thing of it. It's like, like I say, I'm after a guitar that I can feel and emote through, and just that just is right. for me, so to say. So that's about as far as I can go with that one, really. I don't really give a monkeys about radiuses on fretboards. If it feels right, it feels right. I don't really give a monkeys about certain neck shapes. If it feels right, it feels right. A fret type, again, feels right, feels right. It's all these kind of things, Like I do have certain preferences. Like I don't like 2-point tremolos. I don't like brass nuts. I don't like humongous jumbo frets on anything. But I do like tall frets, like, vintage kind of tall frets, but like, the old Les Paul kind of frets, they're great. And obviously, like, sound is a big thing as well. It's got to sound right. And again, that comes down to feel as well, though. I mean, you can feel the sound of a guitar, and if it doesn't feel right, then you kind of, it's not there. Because I always kind of base guitars on, like, the feel is paramount, sound is paramount, and look is paramount. Because if a guitar doesn't look the way you want it to look, you probably won't be inclined to want to pick it up, because it won't. It could be the best guitar in the world, but if you don't like the way it looks, then invariably you might not want to pick it up so much. But if you love the way it sounds, feels, and looks, job's good. And that's kind of like the three things, really, that I would say is everything. The way it feels, not only kind of like to play, but the way it feels internally when you play it, and then the way it sounds. Obviously, it needs to be the right sound. And then when you look at it and go, oh my god, I love the way that thing looks. But when you can just stare at the guitar for hours on end without even playing it and still love it, that's kind of like shows it. And again, good guitar's a good guitar. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter what it's made out of or what's in it. Good guitar's a good guitar. It's as simple as that. In my opinion, anyway. For what that's worth. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the final question of the day, Poopa Jew. Question 4 now. So question 4 today is... I recently got my first electric guitar for my birthday. However, I am struggling on knowing what to learn first, for example. Focusing on learning chords or learning riffs and so on. In your opinion, where should my learning be focused as a complete beginner? Learning songs. Easy. Learn songs, and learn the songs that you want to learn. Not what anybody else recommends you. You be you-centric. You're allowed to be a bit egocentric when you're learning. Learn what you want to learn. Be open to the world and advice, but you have to learn what you want to learn, because that will keep you coming back to it. If you're learning what you don't want to learn, you're not going to want to do it. Because you'll be like, I've got to learn that song, I've got to play that song, I don't want to do that. You have to go away and you have to learn what you want to learn. So if you don't want to learn theory yet, don't do it. If you don't want to learn what chords are yet, don't do it. I didn't. I didn't learn chords for a long time. I just went by numbers. So I was like, okay, G was 3. A was 5. B was 7. And whatnot. And I had my own little system that I made that maybe I'll talk about one day. But again, I learned what I wanted to learn. My first year was spent learning Green Day and Offspring songs, and some Chili Peppers stuff along the way, but I wasn't I couldn't really pull off the Chili Peppers stuff very well, but I could kind of do it, but not very well. I remember learning Californication, By the Way, Scar Tissue, but I struggled, obviously. But you're going to, you're a beginner. But as a beginner, learn what you want to learn and learn what you love to play. So if you love Arctic Monkeys or AC/DC and you just want to learn those songs, just learn those songs. Learn what you want to learn. Don't get discouraged by not being able to do things either. Every time you fail, you will learn to be better next time. And it will just take time. This is a long haul thing. This is not going to be quick and easy. You really, you put the time in, you get what you put in, you get back out. But you've got to learn what you want. Don't be pressured into learning something you don't want to learn. It's not worth it. It really isn't. You've got to learn what you want to learn to start with. You've got to develop that way. And eventually you can start to delve into things like, I don't really like that, but is there anything I can take from it? And then you can go over to different styles and you can start kind of experimenting and listening to other people and say, oh, you should try do this, try do that. And again, it is the key to it is remaining totally open to trying everything, but knowing what you want to do. So if somebody comes along and says, oh, maybe you should try and learn this song, and you're like, I don't know about that one, maybe just go and try it, because you might love it. But if you don't love it, don't do it. It's just, literally as simple as that. So as a total beginner, literally just do what you want to do. It's like anything in music. Like, it's a thing. If you want to go to a guitar shop to buy a new guitar and you want to buy a new Les Paul or a new Strat or whatever, and that's what you want, go and buy one of those. Don't be influenced by anything else. No, you need a Jazzmaster, mate. You don't want a Strat. You want a Jazzmaster. You should buy this one. None of that. You stick to your guns. So, as my advice would be, go and learn the songs you want to learn. Enjoy them. Have fun. Don't take it like, it's like it's like a chore. The moment it becomes a chore, it's not fun, which means you're not doing what you want to do with it. So, and just take it nice and slow. Take it easy. You've got the time. There's no rush. There's no rush. You don't have to be Slash tomorrow. You don't have to be Jimi Hendrix tomorrow. You don't have to be them in a year. You don't have to be them in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Go at your own pace. Find what works for you. Don't rush. You will not learn if you rush. You need to take your time with these things and just ease into it. And again, learn what you want to learn. Don't and be realistic about it as well. Like, don't just kind of like go, I've got my guitar today, I'm going to learn Yngwie Malmsteen's Trilogy Suite number 5. Because you ain't going to be able to do it. You have to be a realist about it. Like I say, when I first started playing guitar, it was power chords. Until I started to learn how to do solos, and then obviously like learning Jimi Hendrix and John Frusciante stuff, kind of like, but it was all gradual steps. It took time to do that. So again, just take your time. Be prepared for it to take a while. The moment you get angry with something, stop. Go and take a break. But go at your own pace and learn what you want to learn. You don't want to be learning things you don't want to learn as a beginner. You don't. I will stand by that until the day I die, which is like, you do not want to be learning things you don't want to play as a beginner, because it can kill it for you. I've seen it so many times of people who start playing guitar and they just kind of fall out of love with it because they've been forced into playing something they just do not want to play. I don't want to play that. And it's like, and it just becomes a chore. And you don't want that. It wants to be fun and enjoyable. For the first 2-3 years of playing guitar, it just wants to be fun. And you want to be evolving at your own pace. Find what works for you. Like I say, you are very important. Somebody else's opinion is not as important as what you feel is right for you at that point in time. And you will know what's right for you. You really will. You've got to feel that. So learn what you want to learn. Take your time. And have fun, mess around and jump around your room with the guitar, acting like you're on stage at Wembley. It's good fun. Just all this stuff, just do whatever you want. Do what you want to do. This isn't about, everyone learns and does things at different paces, and because of that, this is down to you. You have to do what you want to do, and you have to learn your way, because no one else is going to learn your way. Because everyone's different. Everyone learns at different speeds, and everyone takes in information at different speeds. So you've got to find how things work for you, and then once you find that, just go at it. And again, what you put in, you get out. So if you put a lot in, you'll get a lot out. If you put nothing in, you won't get anything. It's like anything in life. Anything worth doing is worth doing right, and it's normally very hard and takes time, but it's worth it. Anyway, hope that made some kind of sense. Anyway, picture. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again for another video very, very soon. Like I say, if you like the channel and like the videos I do here, please consider becoming a patron at Patreon. Link to that in the description box below. Other than that, I will see you again. Have a great morning, afternoon, and good evening. Goodbye now. Thank you for watching.